Racing in the wet. It's something that doesn't happen too much in rental karting, at least in Belgium. But I was lucky enough to, well, take part in this race. It's my third race ever and my second at Goodwill Karting. I did one before that was an hour sprint and it was with all the good guys. This is a fun cup at Goodwill. So these are all drivers at like a sub-pro level, but still the level was quite high. And it was raining, so the track will be wet. It will be wet inside, it will be even wetter outside. Then it will clear up some bit later, but yeah. So I qualified third last. Turns out somebody who was finishing first in this race will be behind me because he crashed during qualifying. So that's why I should have been second last if that wasn't counted in there. But here we go, it's the third time I ever take part in one of these starts, and we're making our way to the start of the race. As you can tell, so this is, well, it's inside of the hall and you can see it being quite wet. It's more slippery than it looks. Luckily I did some ice karting before, so I have some experience with drifting, but the owner at least gave me some tips how to do it, because I had no idea how to properly do the drifts. Like a little tap on the brake and then some taps on the accelerator, but it's easier to say than do, let's say. So here we go. It's the first, well, it's the start at least, yeah. And my goal was to just stay on track, because these guys have more experience at the track and I have no experience in the rain except for the past 4 rounds that we did. So I thought I'd just follow these guys, but as you can see my start wasn't all that clean. And I got overtaken, but this guy is the one who ends up winning the race for the evening. So he was really good. He just had some luck with the qualifying. Here I'm trying to, of course, it's still a race, so I'm trying to be a bit cheeky. But then, yeah, there is a skill issue for sure. I think he will end up going to the pits first time, because, yeah, you know, you can't pit for the first round. So that's what we do. But the pit lane is right after the start finish, and I think he's in a lot of traffic. If he's really much faster than everybody, it's just better to just pit straight away. As you can tell, people are crashing here and there. In the back it's the least experienced drivers, I'm part of them, but you can see some are really going quite wide and it's slippery than you think. So I'm just focusing on staying on track. Here I thought maybe I'll go for a move, but he had the inside of the corner, and then it's quite difficult to follow up, so you can see him driving away from me. I guess it's like in the small details that you take these corners where you can drive away a lot faster. And I think maybe my kart wasn't the best, because you'll notice when I change somewhere I will be mid-race, I will be faster. So, but it's also driver, so who knows. So let's skip ahead a bit. I'm going to skip to the action here and there. He drove away, the guy with the blue helmet drove away for a few laps, and then I caught up again because of traffic. So it's more interesting to watch than seeing people drive away from me. It's like where I can keep up. Here I was quite happy with my entry, and then my braking was a bit smoother than the guy in front. So I think it's a guy with the green helmet. Sadly enough, this was a 2-part race, but I didn't have enough juice in my GoPro to film the second one. But I ended up third last in my second race, and I was gaining on this guy, the one in front of these the 3 drivers in front. But this happens, so we crash, and as you can tell it's quite bad, and I hurt my elbow quite bad here as well. There's no way you can do anything. Like if you see them crash and the track is wet, instinctively I try to push the brake, but if you tap the brake too hard you slide, and then there's nothing you can do except for crash. So I sit quite a lot to the front of the kart, and it makes my elbows bend more. So I hit my seat with that kind of crash. So maybe, well, I should sit more back anyway. In most karts it works better for traction on the back wheels, so I should try that more. I had some stress, so I didn't put my seat in the best position, but then my elbow hit the seat because I have too much space. Maybe I should have stretched my arms or kept them close to my body instead of, If you're going to crash, why not, right? You see some people overtake me because they're a lot faster. You can tell this is the part where you slide the most because you think it's drier than it actually is. Some guy is behind me bumping. I don't want to cheat, so sometimes I bump the track and then I mind. I brake a bit more because I was bumping the side too much, but maybe I'm being a bit too nice. In the other race, somebody was driving in front of me and I was faster and I was really on his bumper and I crashed him at that exact point there where I slid a bit. And then I thought it was too dirty, so I let him in front. Maybe he watches this video. He said, he said thanks for doing it, but it's a bit of a double-edged sword. Like, are you being a good sport or are you actually ruining your own race, right? But anyway, I try to be nice. I try to get to know all these guys. Sometimes there's a crash. This was one of the youngest drivers, but he was good for his age, for sure. He's better than me, so what can I say? But yeah, they went off track a few times. And still, they caught up on me, so that means that I was a lot slower in general. But here I will pit. He's overtaken me. I cut a bit, it's a few laps in. And I thought like, it's getting drier than I think. And maybe my kart's just the thing that's not handling too well. Because that's another thing. Oh yeah, I had my glasses on and they shook loose, so that's why I went into the pits as well. Because I couldn't drive with these glasses anymore. First time I drove with glasses, not the best to do during a race. So I gave them to him. But anyway, I was thinking like maybe it's my kart that's handling bad because I didn't know how it would feel with wet tires, but at the dry parts it was also sliding a bit too much for my liking. And I noticed here actually the kart was handling better straight away, even in the wet part. And then here you can go more full throttle, which was something I was avoiding because of being afraid to spin out. So I think I should have changed karts earlier, but that's the kind of experience you have when you drive more races, right? So now you'll start seeing my times being better. The track is drier, arguably, as well, but my confidence was boosted because I seem to have more grip anyway. Like, this is the part where I have the least grip still. You can see some drifting, but yeah, I managed better. So it was let's say a bad car change. Not too many people change in the middle of the race as well, because yeah, either you have a good one or a bad one. You want to get rid of the bad one, or you stick with the good one until the end. So I don't know. I'm still learning this kind of stuff, but I changed and the kart was faster. Happened the second time around too. I changed after 10 minutes and my second kart was a lot faster. And then I gained on somebody, the aforementioned dark green helmet guy. I gained on him. I think if I had 2 more laps, because I only ended 2 seconds behind him, I would have ended 4th last, but I ended 3rd last anyway. So here the entry is a lot better because it's more grippy. This one I didn't brake as much, but this is always my weak corner, this one. I can't even take it when it's dry, so in the wet it's even worse. And then here you can only pass 1 by 1. So if somebody has the inside, then you need to brake and it ruins your lap time. It's a bit of a weird corner for me. And here I slide because I thought I had more grip, but I didn't. And then I think 1 or 2 laps after, which I will cut to now, I will slide again because I mean, it's still wet. It's drier, but it's still wet. The second race, this was dry. But then I do the exact same thing. Somebody behind me, I slide. It happens, you know. I don't know. I don't want to know how many positions I gave to this, because I thought I was doing fairly well at the start, and then as it dried up, I think I was too conservative with my driving, because I did a faster time than the guy in front of me, which means that my average times would have been a lot lower, and maybe it's because I drove way too careful. But in the wet, you know, you never know. If it's a new thing, then you need to learn, and that's what I did right here. And then the second race was in the dry, and then I gained 1 position, so I guess it's a skill issue. But I felt quite comfortable it being very wet, so maybe if there's ever a race where it's wet inside as well, I would want to check out how I'm doing, because yeah, drifting's interesting. Here and there I lose. I mean, was he behind me, or am I getting lapped here? I don't really know. Maybe I gave this away way too fast. But then again, there was still some minutes in the race. This guy, by the way, nice guy. He followed me on Instagram and YouTube, I think. He's He's still in school, but he's a good kid. He explained me some stuff. Really fun driver. He qualified P8 and I think he ended up P4. And then in the race after he ended up quite good as well. So maybe this guy, I should learn a thing or two from him. But yeah, he tapped me in the back to say I'm there. Maybe not the most sporty thing. Here I get blue flag because there's P5 and 6, I guess, behind me. I think I handled that quite well, even though I was a bit scared to be in the wet part of that corner, but it wasn't too bad. I think it was quite dry by now. And then here you can see a dry spot, so I tended to brake in the dry spot, and then here I just coast a bit. I guess it's not too good for karting to coast, but I don't want to slip in the wet when I'm braking, so I thought like let's brake earlier and then coast and then take the corner faster. So who knows, maybe that wasn't the right technique, but that's what I ended up doing anyway. Somebody passes me. I guess sometimes when I know somebody's a lot faster, I just let them pass. It's not like a fun cup race. Being 1 of 12 would be making a difference when I let somebody pass or not. I'm still quite a bit away from ever reaching one of the top 3 positions, so I'll just need to keep working at that and then just be nice to everybody else, so I have some buddies to go drive with, right? So I'm still looking for a team, but I need to up my game a bit in order to get there. I think this is the last bit. I just wanted to include the last lap or the last 2 laps. Just consider how much faster the laps are at the end of this race as compared to the start of this race, and the difference is quite yeah, night and day, I would say, because it didn't rain anymore after this. Like after we started, if it kept on raining, this would have been a lot more interesting, in the way that there would have been a lot more crashes and the track would have gotten wetter and wetter, so it would have all been drifting inside instead of now, yeah, outside you can see it's dry where everybody's driving, which makes it interesting to check out the lines of everybody. Usually I tend to watch the rubber on the floor, but here you could clearly see where everybody's driving, like here to the left, going more to the inside, I guess, in this corner. But I still suck at this corner, so whatever. I tried. This kept being a bit slippery, but here it was fine. And then I took the inside of this corner more, but it's the end of the race, so the second time I kept racing harder here. I guess it's really up to the flag, and then now I figured like, oh well, I ended somewhere, so who knows. But yeah, anyway, so this was my race in the wet. I hope you found it a bit interesting. I wanted to cover it, so thanks for sticking with me, and until the next video, I'll be posting something else quite soon. Bye bye.